Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Turf Nike MercurialX Proximo Street in the black reflective colorway. Now inside the box they do include a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves. The string bag is black in color with black strings. You're going to find a Nike swoosh on the front in black and white that matches what you're going to find on the shoes. And on the back you're going to find your white Nike football branding. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what is essentially a rebranded Elastico Superfly with some very, very minor changes. In today's video, we're going to be doing a complete overview of the new MercurialX Proximo Street, basically covering everything you would possibly want to know about this particular shoe. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around for the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself as of right now, check out the review page on my website. It'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video, and on that page you will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you will be able to pick these up below their normal retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below in the description, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. So what changes has Nike made coming from the Elastico Superfly to the MercurialX Proximo and Proximo Street? The answer to that question is that they've changed very little. And if you were considering an upgrade from the Elastico Superfly into the MercurialX Proximo or Proximo Street, just know that it isn't much of an upgrade. They're more or less the same shoe. The first of three main changes they have made to the shoe has to do with the visuals. As you guys can see, they've repositioned the Nike swoosh in such a way that it mimics the actual Superfly 4. So they've put all the Nike swooshes in their proper place, which honestly I think looks a lot better than what we saw on the Elastico Superfly. And that's not to say that this wasn't a good looking shoe. I just think that more people, including myself, prefer the look of the standard Superfly Nike swoosh positioning. With that being said, the second change that they've made has to do with the Nike skin on the upper. It still has that Flyknit base, of course, but they've covered the entire upper with Nike skin. Again, very similar to what you're going to find on a pair of standard Superfly 4s, whereas on the Elastico Superfly you had basically cut out areas of Nike skin where it was just completely exposed Flyknit above the Nike swooshes on both the lateral and medial side. Again, a very minor change, not something that's really going to have any impact on the overall performance, but something that I thought I would point out anyways. And the third and final change that they've made has to do with the added sandpaper-like texturing, which you're going to find on both the Proximo and Proximo Street variations of the shoe. That's positioned mainly on the medial side of the shoe, kind of in the midfoot area, moving into the forefoot, and very, very minorly here in the toe box area. It's a sandpaper-like texturing, but it's implemented in kind of like a dot pattern, so it's fairly minimal. It's noticeable to the touch, but as far as visually being able to see it, it's kind of difficult to see, especially with this black on black color. Hopefully you guys can see it in the video. It's a little bit of extra texturing that will hopefully improve the overall durability of the shoe. Not that it was really an issue with the Elastico Superfly, and it'll also allow a little bit of extra grip on the ball as well. So those are the three main changes coming from the Elastico Superfly into the MercurialX Proximo and Proximo Street. Speaking of the differences between the Proximo and Proximo Street, if you guys saw my videos on the new Magista X Proximo and Proximo Street, you would know that there are some pretty significant differences between those two models. When you're talking about the MercurialX or Superfly line, the difference between the regular Proximo and the Proximo Street is simply the colorway. Other than the color, there is no difference whatsoever, which I know is a little bit confusing, but that's how Nike chose to do it, and that's basically what I have to tell you guys, is that they're the same shoe, just different names for some reason. As far as the rest of the shoe is concerned, it's basically what we got from the Elastico Superfly. It's got the same Flyknit upper base that you'd find on a pair of Superfly 4s, the Brio cables that run through the center of the shoe, going from the base of the sole into the lacing system, giving you that nice, tight, secure, locked-in feel when you do pull the laces tight. You do, of course, have the Nike skin covering with no ACC all conditions control, unlike the Magista X Proximos, which, again, kind of an unusual choice by Nike. We didn't obviously see ACC on the Elastico Superflies. We still don't see it on the MercurialX line, but it is something that, like I said, they did include on the Magista X line for whatever reason. Nonetheless, you do get the mid-cut dynamic fit collar with a more elasticated Flyknit material, and you have that same elasticated material running through the middle of the laces as well. The inside of the shoe does have a synthetic leather heel liner, which does allow for some pretty decent step-in comfort, although there is a bit of a break-in period with this type of a shoe, which I'll explain a little bit later in the video. Mesh liner on top, single layer of foam, nothing too fancy about it. Again, same insole we saw on the Elastico Superfly. And then moving on to the midsole and outsole, again, a very minimal foam cushioning through the heel and some parts of the midfoot here. It's a very low profile shoe, and really the majority of the underfoot cushioning that you're going to get is coming from the insole itself. This is, of course, the turf variation, so you have this very large lip going across the front, which is really good as far as durability is concerned. You get a nice strong bond between the sole plate and the upper, and the actual traction pattern itself, it's the exact same turf traction pattern that we saw on the Elastico Superfly. I use it on that shoe. It works extremely well. It's definitely one of the more aggressive turf patterns out there. So if you are playing on turf or even on artificial grass, the traction that you get from this is actually very, very good. So if you're playing on turf, this is definitely an ideal traction pattern to take a look at. And of course, the shoe is available in an indoor variation as well, which has also not changed coming from the Elastico Superfly either. So if you were worried about that one being a little bit different, it isn't, and there will be a follow-up video on those as well, so stay tuned for that. So that's pretty much it as far as tech specs and what you should know regarding the performance of this shoe. It's a one-piece fly-knit upper mid-cut design, pretty much exactly what you're going to find from the Superfly 4, minus the ACC, and of course minus the carbon fiber bottom and studs. So if you're looking for that nice tight fit, that one-to-one sensation, and a premium barefoot touch on the ball, that's exactly what you're going to get from the MercurialX Proximo Street. As far as weight is concerned, I thought it'd be fun to compare the weight of the Elastico Superfly to that of the MercurialX Proximo Street in real time using this scale. Now keep in mind that these are both the turf variation, both in brand new condition, and both in the exact same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the Elastico Superfly, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.8 ounces, which is the equivalent of 250 grams. Actually pretty light for a pair of turf shoes. So we'll change the scale back to ounces. Again, remember 8.8 ounces, 250 grams. We'll throw on the MercurialX Proximo Street, and you can see that they weigh in at 9 ounces, which is 0.2 ounces more, also the equivalent of 256 grams. So you're talking about a 6-gram weight difference between the Elastico Superfly and the MercurialX Proximo Street. This is very, very minimal. No amount of weight that you're going to be able to notice either in hand or on feet. And I think the reasoning for the extra weight has to do with a little bit of extra Nike skin on the upper, plus that added texturing, which again makes up for pretty much no amount of noticeable weight when these shoes are on your feet. So they're both pretty light as far as turf shoes go. And if you are trying to decide between the Elastico Superfly and the new MercurialX models, just know that weight should not be the deciding factor because they are essentially the exact same thing. As far as the colorway and overall appearance of the MercurialX model is concerned, like I mentioned earlier, they did revert back to the standard Superfly 4 graphics in terms of the positioning of the Nike swooshes, which I personally think looks a lot better in comparison to the Elastico Superfly. This particular colorway is very cool in that it's pretty much black and white, but it does have reflective elements to it. You can see a very slight kind of dark gray pattern there running throughout the entire shoe when you are in pure daylight. This does include the Nike swooshes as well, which are kind of like a dark gray as opposed to a true black. All of those elements of the shoe are reflective. It's a little bit difficult for me to show you on camera, but I'll flash some images on screen of pictures that I took that really show off the reflectiveness of this shoe. It shines extremely bright in the correct lighting situations, and again, it's a cool effect to see on the shoe itself. So you have that black on black reflective design, you have black Flyknit that's completely exposed with an accent color of what they call hot lava. It's kind of like a pinky orange color. When you stretch out the dynamic fit collar a little bit, it is of course exposed right there in the middle. Same thing goes for the top of the tongue, which is really cool. I like it when they do these, do that element on the Flyknit Superfly colorways, or certain ones I should say. You do of course have the hot lava color on the inside of the collar as well. Same thing goes for the insole. Your Mercurial branding on the back in kind of like a shiny coloring on top of a matte finish, which I think would have been really cool if the Mercurial branding was also reflective, something they didn't do obviously. You do have these black and gray laces, which are pretty cool. And then of course, this being the turf variation, does have the black foam midsole with that kind of lightning pattern, as well as your Nike logo embossed on the back. And then as you guys can see, all the visible parts of the sole when you're actually standing are solid white in color, whereas on the bottom you're going to find a hot lava Nike swoosh, as well as some gray detailing as well. So all in all, pretty good looking colorway. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit, and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the MercurialX Proximo Streets on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of premium SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, check out the website sr4ulaces.com. It'll be linked in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, unsurprisingly, they feel pretty much identical to that of the Elastico Superfly. It's a tighter fitting shoe. Obviously, it does have the upper of a Superfly 4, so you get that nice tight one-to-one sensation, the mid-cut design. If you haven't worn the Flyknit models from Nike before, it will take some getting used to. They'll feel a little bit strange at first, but after a couple hours of wear time, once you get used to how they feel, they actually have a nice natural sensation where it feels like it flows onto your foot as opposed to something that is strapped to your foot, if that makes any sense. And if you're coming from a pair of Superfly 4 outdoor shoes, this is really the most logical indoor shoe to pick up if you're looking for that same sensation in terms of fit as well as feel. As far as the width and kind of feel of the shoe is concerned, it is a tighter fitting shoe, not necessarily recommended for wider foot types. You're really not going to get any stretch out of the shoe either. The Flyknit material has a pretty determined shape, so the way they fit from out of the box is the way they'll fit for their entire lifespan. They will soften up a little bit, but like I said, the shape really won't change much at all. So if you do have excessively wide feet, probably not the best option for you. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the MercurialX Proximo Street from Nike. It's essentially a rebranded Elastico Superfly, a slightly different look with the new graphics. You have a little bit of added texturing on one part of the upper, but other than that, the fit, feel, performance, and everything else about the shoe is exactly the same. I was a big fan of the Elastico Superfly, and if you were considering a pair of MercurialX Proximos in either the regular or street variations, I can strongly recommend those as well, because like I said, they are essentially the exact same shoe. If you guys are interested in purchasing a pair of these for yourself, check out the review page on my website. It'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you will find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you will be able to pick these up below their normal $150 retail price, so be sure to go ahead and check that out. If you guys have any questions regarding this shoe at all, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. And if you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.